Hello my YouTube friends and family, Sandra from ForYourChi.com, and I'm doing a special video on this weekend's lunar eclipse in Capricorn this weekend, July 4th and July 5th of 2020. I've spent several days in deep research about this eclipse, and the more and more that I dig into it, the more I think, wow, I really need to do this video rather than texting people and private messaging people. I'm just going to do this video because it's easier and all of you can get the message, not just my personal friends. Before I get into the eclipse, I want to talk about my tarot class for just a minute. I will have the details below in the description box if anyone is interested in signing up for that. I'm very surprised by the response that I've gotten. I had no idea that so many people wanted to know the way that I do things. Now, some of you are already gifted readers, but I do understand that I don't know anyone else that reads tarot the way that I do, and it's because I wasn't taught by anyone. I just taught myself. I'm self-taught. But it does make sense, so if you want details below, it'll start in just over a week, the middle of July. Okay, so let's talk about this eclipse. This eclipse, like I said, is in Capricorn. It's a lunar eclipse. It's happening at 13 degrees Capricorn. And the time it starts, 11:07 p.m. on July 4th, Eastern Time, and then it will end at 1:52 a.m. July 5th. Now, of course, the moon is in Capricorn. That's why we have a lunar eclipse in Capricorn. However, there's a lot of other things happening in Capricorn at the same time. This is probably the most harsh eclipse that I have seen on paper in my lifetime. All of the other things that are going on in Capricorn right now are very problematic. Number one, Saturn just came back into Capricorn, right? He's retrograding. We had a break from Saturn in Capricorn for about, I think it was 3 months, because he went to Aquarius at 0 degrees and then came back home. But in his home are Pluto and Capricorn, or excuse me, Pluto and Jupiter retrograding. So, nobody is happy in Capricorn right now. Right now, we're feeling pretty good. This is Friday. This is July the 3rd. The moon is in Sagittarius. People are feeling upbeat, right? I'm feeling upbeat. There's a party tonight. We're going to social distance. But very quickly, this energy changes as the moon goes into Capricorn, and then it just becomes a severe bummer because of all of the energy that's a drag that's going on in Capricorn right now. Saturn is pissed, for one. He just came back home, and it's like, the parents were on vacation for a week and left their teenagers home alone. And the teenagers partied all week long, and the house is a mess. And they left the water running, and they left all the lights on. And by the way, there's a dude passed out in the bathtub, and who the hell is that, right? Daddy is home, and he is not happy. Not happy. And no one else is happy because of that. And Jupiter's no help right now because he's retrograde, and he is in his fall position at Capricorn, like I've been saying. So ordinarily we would get help from Jupiter here, but we've got nothing as far as that's concerned. Now, we're just getting warmed up with this eclipse, because on top of that, and I'm not even going to go into all of the harsh aspects. I'm just giving you the highlights. There are many more harsh aspects than what I'm dishing out here. There is a very negative Chronos aspect to this eclipse. And Kronos apparently is in full-blown horror movie mode, which exacerbates the problem that's already in Capricorn right now with this poor moon in there. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, we've got more fantastic news on top of that. This eclipse is harshly aspecting America's sun. Now, what I mean by America's sun is every country, just like everything else, has a birthday. And our birthday's this weekend, the United States. So that means that this America's in they have a solar transit going on right now. And this eclipse is harshly affecting that solar transit, that sun in that chart. That's not good for America as a whole. In addition to that, this eclipse is triggering all of the Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter shit that's been going on for many months now. And there's some sort of continuation to the story or end of the story of what happened back on Christmas Day of 2019, when we had that solar eclipse that was so harshly aspected in Capricorn. Now, because this eclipse is at 13 degrees, if you have a sun in Capricorn that's close to 13 degrees, right? That's in that teen degree area. They say, it could be 10 degrees, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Or your moon, if you have a moon at that same degree in Capricorn, or your ascendant in that same degree in Capricorn, you folks are going to feel it more harshly than anyone else. But we are all feeling this at some level here. And if you want to know more about how this eclipse is going to affect you personally, look below and look at my July monthlies, because that will certainly give you warnings where you need to hear them, and make sure you're looking at your ascendant as well as your sun. You can find your ascendant and your degrees of your moon that I just spoke about on cafeastrology.com, but you need to know the exact time of birth that you were born. So look at your birth certificate. It has to be exact. Otherwise, you may get it wrong. So what does this mean for us, right? Number one, it means immediate karma. Now, we've seen a lot of that lately, but it is going to be exacerbated at this time of the eclipse. So what do I mean by immediate karma? You're immediately getting back what you're putting out there. If a person is angry, and they are angry about the current events that are going on in this country right now, and they hold that anger day and night, and then they go out into a crowd with that emotion behind it, expect to receive immediate contrast, because it's coming back. Whatever you're putting out is being reflected back at you, which could be a major problem if you go out there with that kind of vibration, right? So my advice is, if you have that kind of vibration and you can't get rid of it, there's nothing constructive that you can do to deal with that, I would advise that you stay home, because you could run into some major trouble, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous to have that kind of vibration out there. It's just as dangerous to have that kind of vibration as fear. You also shouldn't go out with the fear vibration, because that too, you will attract something more to be afraid of, and nobody needs that, right? The other warning that I've received, that I have never received in a eclipse situation, is do not look at this eclipse There are many people who like to go outside and look at the eclipse, and I've done it at times too. I don't specifically wake up just to look at it, but you know, it's kind of cool. This one, not cool. Not cool at all. And the message that I'm getting about it is the Chronos aspect, specifically. In addition to that, the warning we have is do not put crystals out during this eclipse. Now, some people like to put their crystals out during the full moon. They think it clears them, it charges them, and it does. I'm not, I have lots of crystals. I don't put them out in the full moon. I've never done that. I always clear my crystals out myself. It's just a preference that I have. But I do have crystals that sit out outside permanently, and I don't bring those inside, usually. The reason why you don't want to put crystals out there is because of this Chronos thing. Now, there could be some other reasons. This is just what I'm getting psychically right now as I do this video. The Chronos situation with the horror movie, think about charging crystals with that energy and then bringing them into your house. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Same thing with looking at the eclipse. It has that same sort of feeling. Now, this would be like, putting your 3-year-old and having him watch a horror movie and then sending him to bed. I mean, this is a bad setup here. We have to be smart about this. We have to make good decisions. And I don't know where another place where you're going to get this message and information and warning. So if you're a crystal person that likes to charge your crystals outside, keep them inside for this. Now, in Vedic astrology, they teach us you should bathe before and after the eclipse, which I do sometimes. I've done it during this cycle, and I would highly advise you to do it during this cycle, and particularly this one this weekend. And there's something about Vedic astrology in the Eclipse Warning that says you shouldn't eat cooked food that's been exposed to the eclipse. So in other words, throw the prepared food away, cook fresh food after the eclipse. There's something about exposing it to the energy of the eclipse. I would definitely heed that message this time. Maybe not all times, but I would definitely do it this time because of what we're talking about here and what's involved exactly. Okay, we went through the crystals, we went through the karma. The other thing that's possible during this eclipse, and why I'm telling you not to look at it, not to charge your crystals outside with it, is there is an element of what could be severe depression. So if you already feel like that energy is coming on, cancel, clear, delete. Or if you are predisposed to that, or that's a problem for you, even if it comes up intermittently, I would definitely take the messages that I just gave you and the warnings that I just gave you more seriously. And same is true if you have a child or loved one who has that problem. I would do all of the above or not do it. Don't let them look at this eclipse. Don't let them charge their crystals outside. Keep them home. Now there's also, speaking of staying home, there's also a travel warning. I'm not telling everyone to stay home because it's your life. You have to do what you feel is right. But if you are going to travel, like I say, and I hammer it in all of these videos, protection, protection, protection. I've gotten more requests for my protection video than ever. And by the way, if you sign up for my tarot class, you're going to get that protection information plus more. I'm adding to that for the people who want to learn this. If you do travel, there is a possibility of you getting not being able to come back or not being able to go to your destination. There could be some sort of blockage. In addition to that, it's Mercury retrograde. There could be, you could have a vehicle break down. You know, you could be in a very scary situation if your vehicle breaks down in not a great location right now. So that is the other advice for you, to stay home if you possibly can stay home. This eclipse, and also Saturn coming back into Capricorn at this time, and he's there for another 5 months until December. I forget the date. It might be the 21st. It might be the winter solstice. It's around there sometime. It's negative for people who have self-esteem issues because it's going to raise the ugly head of that issue to its forefront so that you can deal with it once and for all. If you choose to deal with it and finally conquer it, good for you, but that can be a very difficult thing to overcome, especially if you've had it your whole life. You may well need professional help in dealing with that, on top of the depression warning that I just gave. You know, let's just put it this way. The therapists are very busy right now, and they're going to continue to be busy. They have job security right now. But, you know, therapy may not help you. You may have to go to a hypnotherapist, someone who can zero in on the problem and release it in a short amount of time. However, there's a certain percentage of the population that can't be hypnotized. So, you know, you'll have to figure that out. I seem to remember that 30% of the population can't be hypnotized, and I'm one of them. Go figure. This eclipse with Saturn going back into Capricorn is also negative for people who have not been paying attention. They're not listening to their advice and guidance of what they've been given from their guides and their angels, and they've been slacking off. So we were in different energy when Saturn was in Aquarius. We felt like, you know, people are taking care of us and the government's taking care of us. Well, with Saturn back in Capricorn, there's not that energy anymore. It's time to pay the piper. For people who are writing unemployment, who are thinking that they're going to continue to get this unemployment, it's a bad time to have that false sense of security. It's time to go back to work with Saturn in Capricorn. When Saturn leaves Capricorn and goes into Aquarius for a long time at the end of the year, those people who have worked hard during Saturn in Capricorn, which started in 2017, so it's been a couple of years, will be rewarded. However, those who have slacked off, Saturn punishes now. Saturn punishes even more than Saturn rewards, because Saturn rewards are very hard earned, blood, sweat, and tears, and then there's a victory and a payoff. And if there's anybody that can say that, it's me, because I have Saturn and Jupiter in my 10th house of career. So I know that Saturn rewards can be very difficult. I pulled a card for this eclipse. I went to the goddess deck. Something told me to do it. And how about that? Matt, fairness. This situation has already worked out and it's already being resolved behind the scenes. There is no need for you to do anything else. It's going to be taken care of and it's going to be handled. There is no need for anyone who's watching this video to go out and protest further. It's being handled. What an appropriate message for this video, especially the automatic karma situation. So, all the links are below that you need if you guys want to engage. If not, and you just want to take this information and heed the message or don't heed the message, it's totally up to you. Just putting it out there for those who want the information and who want to listen to it. Many blessings to you. If you'd like a private session with me, send me an email, foryourchi@gmail.com. Much love to you all.